Good morning. So, it's Saturday morning, and I was laying in bed having that moment of, I don't have to get up and do anything today. I can just lay here. So, I was laying in bed, kind of, checking Facebook, and was just kind of tired of seeing everything that people were posting because it's crazy right now, obviously. So, um, and I haven't been really sure how to feel about that. I think it's important that people can post what they want and say what they want, but I think some of us, uh, and maybe even rightfully so, like, I'm not trying to take away anyone's right to feel however they feel, but I think we can forget when we're hiding behind our social media or our computer screens that the people on the other side that we're commenting at or talking about are still humans, even though maybe their actions don't make us feel like they're humans, regardless of what side you're on or what right or wrong you think exists. So, um, I was, anyways, cruising Facebook, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll read for a little bit. And of course, then as I sit down to read, I start noticing how uncomfortable I am and things like that. So it shifted into, I need to get up and do some movement and kind of get my morning going now and hopefully have a productive day. And then I thought, maybe I'll just record it, and maybe some of you are in the same boat as me. And maybe if you see this on your feed, it'll come as like a welcome distraction or change, or hopefully you see it and maybe want to try some yoga and just see how you feel afterwards. So this is kind of going to just be an organic class that's whatever comes out of me right now this morning. I haven't really thought about it. And I'm just going to teach my way through it, and we'll see how it turns out. So good morning, happy Saturday. And even if you just kind of watch or listen, I think that might still be hopefully useful. I don't know. It's useful for me to do it. So join if you'd like, and keep scrolling if you'd like. So I'm going to come over onto my floor, and the first thing I think I'm going to do today is lay back down. So this is great even if you are still in bed and aren't quite ready to venture out from under the warm covers. Then you can do a lot of this laying in bed as well. So I'm just going to start by laying down onto my back with my knees bent and feet on the earth. It appears that my arms naturally went overhead, so find what your body wants to do. If you want to kind of grab a blanket or something to put under your low back, that's definitely a possibility as well. So just find the earth, find your back on the earth, and notice how it feels just to lay on the ground. Even when we go to bed, usually we're not really paying attention to how it feels. A lot of us tend to pay attention to what we're thinking when we go to bed and lay down. So in whatever lying down position you're in, just take a moment to feel the whole body. Notice the back body in contact with the earth or your bed or whatever it is. Just noticing the spaces where the earth and yourself come together. And And notice the front side of the body, the spaces in contact with the air around you, or your clothing, or whatever it is. Just feeling the exterior of the body coming in contact with whatever it's in contact with. As you just begin feeling these things, you might start to notice that you're breathing. Most of us aren't very aware or conscious of what our breathing is like. So slowly shift your awareness from the outer edges of the body more inwards and start to notice the flow of your breath and notice what the body does as you breathe. You might feel the rib cage expanding gently. Maybe the back body's pressing down into whatever is underneath you. With the next inhale, just follow the breath, starting at the tip of the nose and feel it wash in, wash down the throat and into the lungs. Maybe the rib cage expands outward and the belly can even expand upward. And then just feel the whole body soften as the breath leaves. Our breath acts as kind of a barometer, but for us, kind of to judge how we are doing. So if your breath is more shallow, maybe it's uncomfortable or kind of jagged, or there's tension coming in with the breath, that can tell us one thing about how we are. And if our breath is more full, natural, and even, that can tell us something about how we are, maybe how our mind is, or how our nervous system is, or just about what our stress level is like. And there's no right or wrong way for your breath to be here. But then maybe you can begin to gradually think about just naturally letting the breath deepen a little bit more. So you could imagine the breath washing in through the nose, down the throat, into the lungs, and then even imagine it filling the belly. And then just let everything flow back out naturally, nice and even and slow. Don't feel like you're holding the breath or forcing anything. And breathe with the lightest footprint you can, but just see if you can lengthen the breath just a bit. Because our breath is kind of this barometer, well, it also kind of works in reverse. Not only does our breath inform, or not only can our breath inform how we are, but it can also impact how we are. So we can use our conscious mind to adjust our breath and therefore change what's going on for us physically. And then hopefully change what's going on with us mentally as well. So just keeping in mind that by intentionally beginning to deepen and lengthen the breath a bit, we're starting to impact our nervous system and bring some balance into how our body's functioning. And just that little action can go a long way in affecting how we're feeling. And then by pairing that movement, or pairing that breath with some movement, we can hopefully start to impact ourselves even more. Moving the energy around the body, evening out any tension we're feeling. And hopefully by the end of the practice, we'll feel differently, and hopefully in a way that makes us feel better. Or maybe in a way that makes us feel like we've done something productive and useful for ourselves. So wherever you are now, keep your awareness on the breath as you begin to maybe lengthen the legs out, or just reach the arms up overhead and find a full body stretch. If it's uncomfortable to reach the legs out, don't worry so much about it. Just reach with the arms and kind of reach through the right side and then the left side, alternating. And then just really reach, finding a nice full breath. And then sigh it out. And let the body relax. Bring the arms down next to the sides, and we can bend the legs once again, bringing the feet to the earth. And then bend at the elbows, pointing the fingertips towards the sky. Spread the fingers wide here. Feet can be about a hip's width distance and in fairly close to the body. And then let your shoulders shrug up towards your ears just a bit, and then really press the shoulders down into the earth and press the arms, the whole back sides of the arms that's in contact with the earth, into the earth. In a bed, this might be a little more difficult because there's not a strong foundation underneath you, but you can hopefully still feel it. And then plant the feet and just lift and spread the toes. And imagine that you could drag the feet closer to the seat without actually moving them. And you might begin to feel just a gentle rock in the low back. When you do that, you can pull the feet in and then push them away. Not really moving the feet, but feeling the low back, maybe the whole back body just kind of starting to shift. And then as you press down and pull the feet in, really extend the energy through the fingertips, press down into the arms, and then just open the arms, the hands, away from each other just a bit. And then bring them back up and relax the feet. So press the feet into the earth, pull them towards you, open the hands, and relax. The hands come back up, the feet and legs relax. And then you can kind of sync this movement to your breath. Inhaling as you press down and then pull the arms away. Did I say exhaling? I should have said inhaling. Exhaling as you release and bring the hands together. Just doing this a few times. Good. And then we can release that and start to just bring the knees one at a time in close to the chest. Maybe giving yourself a little hug here and rocking side to side. Bring your awareness to the sensations in the low back here. As we've added some movement, noticing how the relationship with the body and the earth begins to change. Maybe the relationship between the mind and all that's going on begins to change. And the relationship with the breath begins to change. So just start to notice all of those changes without judgment, not thinking anything's right or wrong, but just noticing. And then plant one foot down onto the earth and just pull the one leg in. I have my right side in, so for you, if you're watching, it might look like your left, but you can do either side. And then with that leg pulled in, just press out through the heel and pull the toe towards you a bit to kind of bring a sense of stretch into the leg, or a sense of enlivenment or energy running through the leg. Feel an inhale here, and on an exhale, press that foot up towards the sky, reaching through the heel. You can grab behind the thigh and just press the leg into the hands. Press the hands into the leg and extend through the heel, pulling the toes towards you to find a stretch in this leg. And then you can point and flex the foot, maybe draw some circles. Here in the winter, I noticed that like even my ankles and toes are tight, don't have as much space. So kind of wriggle your toes around. Feel the flow of your breath. And then we'll pull that leg in. And then set it back down next to the opposite leg and just rest here a moment. Feel one leg compared to the other. Maybe feel as though the breath could wash all the way down into the legs. Exhaling, sending the energy back out. And then pull the opposite knee in towards the chest. It can kind of come more in towards the midline or out towards the side, or you can kind of let the knee just kind of flow back and forth. And then press out through the heel, pull the toes back towards the knee, enlivening the leg. Find a natural inhale. And on the exhale, extend the heel towards the sky, pulling the toes towards you, and just grabbing behind the leg, finding a gentle pressure with the leg into the hands and feeling the stretch on this side. Find your breath here, and even notice how you can send the breath into any spaces where you're feeling any stretch or any tension. And on the exhale, imagine that tension could wash out with the breath. You can point and flex the foot now, bringing some rotation into the ankle, bringing some wiggling into the toes. And then pull that knee back in and let the foot come back to the earth, one leg resting next to the other. Legs can be bent, or you could take the legs out along the ground here and feel how they are. And just take a moment to, again, notice one leg compared to the other. Breathe into the whole body and let the whole body soften. Good, and then bend the legs again, feet to the earth. And pull one knee in towards the chest. And then think of extending the opposite leg towards the sky. So both legs up in the air, one leg pulled in, one extended. Press through both heels, pulling the toes back towards you. And then we could just switch sides, pulling the opposite leg in, extending through the other. do this a couple times. Your cat might want to join. Normal loves yoga. I don't want your butt in my face though, buddy. Good, and then we'll just keep one leg extended. Extend the leg away from the camera. And then just kind of find a little rocking with the leg forward and back. And see if we can't really engage the core a bit and maybe rock ourselves all the way up to a seat. And you can do that a couple times to help you kind of find the rock. Or if this is something that your body is like, nope, we're not doing this, that's perfectly fine. You can then just kind of roll to one side and press yourself up and find yourself in a seat with the leg away from the camera extended. Bring the hands to the front of the bent leg and kind of pull up with the hands, allowing the spine to be nice and long. The extended leg can have a micro bend in it if that feels better, and really feel the pelvis being neutral. A lot of us can tend to let the pelvis tilt back, and that'll bring a rounding into our backs. So as you pull up into the bent leg, really feel the hips and the pelvis kind of shifting into a neutral upright position. The spine is nice and tall. Reach through the crown of the head and then relax the shoulders down and out of the ears. Even pull the shoulders together on the back a bit. Keep extending energy out through that heel of the extended leg, pulling the toes in towards you. And then you can bend that extended leg, bending the legs so that they're both in together. Grabbing the fronts of both legs, inhale to really lift through the chest, lift through the crown of the head. And on an exhale, start to tilt the pelvis forward even more, kind of hinging at the hips, and give yourself a little hug here. It could be nice to bring the toes up off the earth and really press into the heels, and then pull the heels towards you, helping you tilt that pelvis forward even more. Find your breath here, letting the flow of the breath be natural. Feeling the belly press into the legs, maybe feel the back body extending behind you with the inhale, and exhale to let the body soften. Our inhale is the empowerment to receive new energy from our environment around us, or new clean prana, the subtle life force energy. And the exhale is the empowerment to release, to let go. On your next inhale, slowly rise back up with the upper body, and then we'll roll back down onto our backs, however you want to get there. And this time we'll extend the leg closest to the camera up into the air and keep the leg away from the camera, pulled in. And you can kind of start to find that rocking in this side. Maybe you have some control and a little momentum. You can let yourself come all the way up, maybe a couple times, rolling up and down. Or just turning to the side and coming up to your seat and extending the leg closest to the camera, hugging in the leg away from the camera. Find that gentle grip on the front of the leg, not on the knee, but anywhere down on the front of the leg, or even behind the thigh would work. And feel the chest lift, the heart extending forward, That extended leg can have a micro bend or really as big of a bend as you like. Feel the crown of the head reach towards the sky. And the shoulders relax. As you inhale, you could imagine the spine extending, maybe finding a little more space between each vertebrae. And on the exhale, ground back down into the sit bones, connecting to the earth that really allows us to rise up, just like a tree roots down deep into the soil so that it can extend towards the sky, nice and strong. Keep pulling the toes back towards you. Good, and then let that extended leg kind of hug in. The legs come to be even. And then bring the hands to the hips or the sit bones next to you, behind you. And feel a lift in the chest here. Kind of let the elbows hug in. Let the shoulder blades come together on the back. And just find a gentle lift here. You can still lift the toes and pull the heels into the earth and kind of drag the heels towards the seat. Sitting tall, sitting proud. Maybe find a smile on the face and just feel like you could just kind of let all the nice energy. It might not feel like there's a lot of it, but I promise it's out there. There's this nice, refreshing, enlivening, and rejuvenating energy that you can draw into the chest, into the heart. Good, and on the exhale, we'll soften and roll back onto our backs. Hug everything in, maybe rock side to side. Bring the arms to a T. I like to have the palms facing up, but it could really go either way. Keeping the legs hugged in, extend energy out through the fingertips, unless you have a wall in the way. Extend energy out through the fingertips. Press into the arms to feel the connection of the back on the earth, and then let the knees start to rock side to side a little bit. And then keeping that connection in the arms, you can let the legs roll all the way to one side and even let the hips shift over as well. And the shoulder will probably come up off the earth a bit, and that's all right. Just keep extending the energy out through the arm. That'll keep the core engaged and stable. And notice the breath as you come into this twist. How does the breath change? Where does it go in the body? Where are you feeling tension, and can you send the breath into that space? And then let it wash out, taking the tension with it, or imagining that the tension could go out with the breath. Good. Press into the arms. We'll slowly roll the legs back up to the sky. And you might naturally just feel the body want to go in the opposite direction, so let it do that, taking the twist in the other direction, keeping the energy extending out through the arms, letting the hips shift over, letting the shoulder come away from the earth if it needs to. Feel the twist on this side, using your breath, noticing where the breath goes, or maybe notice where there's an increase in tension as the in-breath comes in. And if you are noticing a lot of discomfort when you go to breathe in your poses, maybe back off the pose, even just 10%, and notice if that allows you to find a more full and even breath. Yoga is not really about who looks the best or the most extreme or It's not really about being able to push yourself to your furthest limit, but it's more about being compassionate to yourself, working within the space that you have easily and evenly, and allowing the breath and your gentle movement, your compassionate movement, to naturally begin to open yourself, both physically and mentally and emotionally, hopefully. Good. Press into the arms and let the legs start to come back up towards the center. Hugging the whole body in for a nice big squeeze. And then we'll roll to one side and come back up to a seat. And then slowly make your way to hands and knees. If you're still in bed, it might be time to get up, or you could try to do this on the bed, but I doubt it will be quite as effective, but you could try it. Let the hands come under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, and you can kind of shift here, let the hips shift side to side. Notice how it feels to have the back away from the ground. Good, and finding the hands in a supportive position, spread the fingers wide, and then just kind of pull the mat or whatever you're on, pull it apart with your hands, just gently, to feel just a little engagement in the back body, in the upper back and in the shoulders. Press down into the knees, the tops of the legs, and then just gently rock forward and back, and let the movement sink to your breath. So as you glide forward with a nice neutral spine, you can feel the inhale, and as you glide back, you can feel the exhale. We're not rounding or creating a back bend, but just a nice neutral spine. You could think of a long line from the tailbone all the way out through the crown of the head, that you're kind of just gliding along this line with your breath. And on your next exhale, send the seat even further back. Bring the chest towards the earth. The forehead can come toward the earth, and the arms extend for a variation of child's pose. Find whatever variation is okay for your body this morning. I can go into about the fullest child's pose there is, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm better or worse than anyone. It's just really how my joints and bones and muscles are connecting. So your child's pose might be more like with your seat up in the air and the arms kind of bent, or whatever you need it to be. There's no right or wrong if you are feeling good about how it feels. Notice the breath here. Notice how the breath changes coming into this type of forward bend. We really are in a very similar position to what we were like on our backs with the knees hugged in, but just notice how here in this position, with the shift of the bodies and the shift of gravity affecting us, it can feel a lot different. So bring your awareness to the breath in this position, feeling the belly pressing down, the back body extending, and then everything softening as you exhale. Let your awareness come into your own heart, gathering up all this energy and bringing it inward with this very inward pose, literally turning inward on ourselves. On an inhale, lift the forehead and let the hands walk over to one side a little bit, feeling a stretch in the opposite side body. Let the breath flow into whatever side you're feeling the stretch, and feel the opposite side gently hugging in with the exhale. You could imagine that you could breathe into the lung of only the extended side. Good, and then slowly walk the hands back through center and over in the other direction, letting the forehead rest if it's comfortable. And find your breath here, feeling the gentle extension through the extending side, feeling the gentle contraction of the opposite side on the exhale. Reaching through the fingertips and then all the way back through the hip, you can hopefully feel the stretch all the way through the side body. Good, and then we'll slowly walk the hands back to the center. And maybe reach the arms out wide and then really pull back with a little resistance, like you were sliding down a pane of glass and trying to stop yourself from sliding. As you inhale, start to feel pressure in the legs and start to press into the earth with the legs, pushing yourself back up towards a table position. Finding that rocking back and forth once again with a neutral spine. And then maybe finding some hip circles here, seeing what space we have created or haven't created in the hips. And go in the other direction. Again, we don't need to judge whatever we notice is going on with us. We just can watch it and see if, as we continue to move, anything changes. Good, and then find your neutral table once again. Press down into the hands, pull the mat apart with the hands just gently. And then on an inhale, tuck your toes if you're able, and feel the stretch through the backs of the feet. Well, I'm really feeling it in my ankles more than anything. Good, come back to neutral. And if you'd like, with the toes tucked under, you could press into the feet to send the hips up and back into down dog. But if down dog's not your happy Saturday morning pose, you can stay in your table and work anywhere in table. Keep stretching the feet if you'd like. You can do some more hip circles or gliding back and forth. And then if you are in down dog, just really feel your breath here. Let yourself kind of stretch through one leg and then the other. And then we'll all meet back in our table position. Now we're going to come into a lunge here. So for a lot of people, it can be nice to have something handy, like a couple books, or if you have yoga blocks, that's great. I have a bolster here, so I can kind of like demonstrate with the bolster. I have nice long arms, so I usually don't need blocks as much here, but definitely no issues if you do need a block, grab it. So we're in our table position, and we'll just start to think about bringing the leg that is closest to the camera forward between the hands. So the foot coming between the hands, and get there however you need to. This is where it can be nice to have those blocks or a book to kind of use your hands on to lift your upper body up so you have more room for your leg here. It could also be nice to have a blanket under the knee that's down on the earth if that's something that feels good. So wherever you are, whether you have a couple blocks or you don't, let the hands be in contact with the earth and find that neutral spine once again. Try not to let yourself be rounding too much. That's also where the blocks come in handy. So wherever you are, find your knee and see if you can let it just be right over the ankle, maybe not coming too far forward in our lunge. And it can also be behind the ankle, that's totally fine too. And then not letting it come in too much or come out too much, but just noticing if we can keep it kind of stable over the ankle. The back leg could be closer in towards the body, or you could deepen it to deepen the stretch. Good. And then lift and spread the toes of that front foot, feeling the enlivenment in that front leg. You could press into the big toenail of the back leg and kind of firm through that leg, and then let the tailbone lengthen down between the legs towards the earth and reach through the crown of the head. This is one of my personal favorite poses. For you, it might look more like this. So wherever you are, it's perfectly good. And then wherever you are, really feel the groundedness in the leg and in that front foot. And we'll start to hinge ourselves up. So you can bring the hands to the thigh for support and just let the back body come to an upright position. If you have issues balancing here, you can let the front leg come out more for a more wide stance that can help with balance. So give yourself the permission to adjust your stance as you need. Good. With the chest lifting here, the arms can come out in front of us, turning the palms to the sky. And then bend the arms so that the hands come to the shoulders. And then reach the elbows up in the air. You might feel a little back bend come into the back here. The gaze could lift a bit. And then you can extend the hands towards the sky. Arms can really be wherever is comfortable. And if you are here in a little back bend, feel the back leg kind of pulling forward into the socket and that front leg pulling back into the socket. And then let the tailbone lengthen down towards the mat. And of course, find your breath here in this pose. Good. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll just bring the arms back to the thigh. The back can come to a neutral position. And just gently press into the thigh and lengthen through the crown of the head on an inhale. And then with the exhale, just gently begin to twist towards the extended or the front leg. It might not be a big twist, like I'm just feeling my belly button starting to hug towards the extended leg. And then if you feel like you can come further, you can kind of use the leg for support, maybe bring the back hand to the low back and just feel yourself twist a little bit further. As we're twisting, our low back can't twist very much. Our lumbar spine is a little bit grumpy if we twist it too far. Most of our twist will come from the upper, middle, and upper back. So like if around the bra line area or higher. So you can kind of feel that here with the hand on the low back, how you want to keep it fairly even and then let the upper body do most of the twisting. And as you twist, keep pressing down into the feet, into the leg, that nice strong foundation. And lengthen through the crown of the head with the inhale. And maybe twist a little bit more with the exhales. Good. On the next inhale, we'll lengthen and slowly turn back towards the center. And then we'll hinge the hands down back to the earth or the blocks or whatever it is that you had. Good. And then we'll just bring that leg back into our table position and let yourself shift side to side. Maybe sitting back into a child's pose if that feels good. Well, I see how long we've even been doing this. 45 minutes. I'm so slow at teaching yoga, you guys. Good. Here on the opposite side, we'll press the hands down into the earth, pull the mat apart with the hands to find that engagement in the upper back. And then we'll pull the opposite leg forward, the opposite foot coming between the hands, and using your blocks or whatever support you need so that the spine is nice and neutral, not rounding. Check that the knee is fairly even over the ankle. And then you can adjust the back leg to deepen the stretch if you like. Or just find whatever supportive pose is nice for you. Again, it doesn't have to look like me. I promise you that our bones are not built the exact same. Our joints are all shaped differently, so everyone is going to look different in their best yoga pose. Good. Notice your breath here. Maybe lift and spread the toes of the front foot. Ground down into the big toenail of the back foot and firm through that leg a bit. Let the tailbone lengthen. Good. And then with the support of the ground, press down so we can hinge up. Adjust your stance as you need. And find the lengthening through the spine here. Good. Bring the hands up in front of you with the palms towards the sky. Bend the arms so the hands come to the shoulders, and then extend the elbows up, maybe back. Maybe you find a little back bend, or maybe you don't. So just notice, where do you want to go this morning? And then extend the arms up. Reaching through the fingertips, imagining the fingertips were like plugged into sockets. But then let the shoulders still relax away from the ears. We don't have to pull the shoulders up with the arms as well. Good. Feel the feet or the foot grounding down, the back leg. Kind of feel that front leg pulling back into the socket, the back leg pulling forward. One more inhale here and exhale to bring the hands back to the thigh. We'll press down into the thigh a bit as we breathe in. And as the breath starts to go, we'll shift the belly button towards that front leg, coming into just a little variation of the twist away from the camera now, probably. And then as you continue to breathe, if the twist wants to deepen, you can allow it to do that, bringing the hands wherever's comfortable. Don't bring your hand directly to the knee. Our knee joint itself isn't what we want to use for that stability, but you could use the hand on the thigh somewhere. And then find the sacrum or the low back with the back hand, and just feel your twist on this side, lengthening the spine, maybe imagining there was a little more space between each vertebrae with the inhale. And then imagining you could twist a little bit deeper with the exhales. Notice if your balance is being challenged. That's what I'm finding. And then inhale to lengthen. Exhale to slowly begin to come back around to the front, and we'll hinge ourselves back down. Bring that front leg back in next to the opposite one. Back to our table, and again let the hips shift side to side. This is something you could do like 2 or 3 times on each side and notice how it feels different from side to side. But for the sake of time, we're not going to do that. Good. We'll sit back into our child's pose, reaching out through the arms. And connect to your breath once again after we've done some poses that take a little more effort, we can tend to forget about our breath or lose that connection to what our breath was doing. So I like taking a little time to come to stillness again in a more inwardly focused pose. And reconnect to that even breath, the deep breath, feeling where the breath goes in the body. And where does it go as it flows out? From here, we'll press ourselves back up into our table position. And this time, bring the leg that's away from the camera forward between the hands, using your blocks or your books or whatever you have if you need. And feel that foundation with the hands underneath you. So maybe press down and pull the mat apart gently to enliven the back body. And then tuck the back toes and lift the heel up off the earth. And then drop the heel down. So the leg is externally rotating, kind of, yeah. And then press strongly into the feet and hinge yourself up. And I'm coming into a warrior two. You can come into a different variation. It can be more of a warrior one legs if that's comfortable. In warrior two, my back toes are pointing directly at the camera. My front toes are pointing to the side, but it would be like the short edge of your mat probably. You can bend into that front leg and then look down at the knee and see that it's pretty much tracking over the ankle. A lot of us tend to let the knee fall inward. So look down and see that you can see maybe your first and second toe on the inside of the knee. Then press down into the pinky toe side of the back foot. In this position, a lot of us tend to end up really hinging forward, bringing a lot of weight into this front leg. But imagine someone was kind of like grabbing your back arm and pulling you up to a more upright position, and feel the weight in the feet kind of even out. So pressing into the feet evenly. Good. The thighs are kind of opening, spiraling open towards the sky. And then the arms can just come to a T. If you'd like, you can exhale, bringing the arms down. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. And then let the palms be open. Feel the shoulders on the back. Good. Reach out through the pinkies a little bit here and feel the heart lift. Good. Exhale, bring the hands to the hips and then let this front foot turn towards the camera so the toes are facing the screen. Nice wide-legged stance. And then reach the arms up and out. The toes can point out, angled out a little bit here. And really feel nice and big. And on an exhale, pull the arms down, bend the legs, coming into a little squat. Imagine you were sliding down against a wall. So the back stays nice and even. We're not rounding forward. And maybe exhale out the mouth and even stick the tongue out here as you exhale. You can kind of make a growly noise. I know that my nieces love to make growling noises, so. Good. Find your big X. And then we'll take the opposite toes, the toes that were towards the camera in our warrior two, and turn them towards the short edge. So we're going to come into warrior two on the opposite side. So hands can be really wherever you'd like now as you set up the stance. Bend into this opposite leg that was your back leg before is now your front leg. Bend into it and then look down and check the alignment of the knee. Can you see the first and second toe, or at least the arch of the foot on the inside of the knee? Press down through the pinky toe side of this back foot. Let the thighs spiral towards the sky. And then lift the arms if you'd like. You could even have just the hands at the heart or on the hips. Good. Warrior Two is one of my favorite poses because I like that I have to focus on the stability, the foundation, what my legs are doing, so that I can feel nice and strong in the rest of my body. And I do feel nice and strong here. I feel like I can extend energy, and I just feel more empowered. You can exhale, bring the arms down and around, and then let the palms be open to the sky. Let the heart shine forward. Good. And then from here, we'll bring the hands to the hips. Let that front toe come back towards the camera. So toes are facing towards the camera again. And from here, bring the hands to like the hip crease where the leg and the hip join. You can bring the feet in a little bit if you need to. Adjust your stance. The toes can point out just a little bit. And here we'll lengthen on the inhale. And as we exhale, start to hinge forward from this hip crease. We're not rounding the back. We're just hinging at the hips, keeping the spine nice and long, still reaching through the crown of the head. The chest is still forward of the shoulders, so feel the shoulders relax onto the back. Maybe the shoulder blades hugging together just a little bit as you hinge. The knees can definitely bend here. So we're not coming into like a whole huge forward fold like you would typically see, I don't know, in like a yoga book on Instagram. Good. And then if you feel strong and stable here, or maybe press down into the feet and lift and spread the toes to help you feel strong and stable, you could then reach the arms up overhead for some added difficulty. And wherever you are, gaze up at the camera for a moment and see if you notice any muscles on your back kind of start to engage. And then lower the head back down so that it's even. Good. Press strong into the feet. We're going to hinge all the way back up. And exhale. Just bring the hands into the heart. Find your even breath. Notice the energy flowing in the body. Maybe you've created a little bit of heat, a little bit of energy to get yourself moving. And then let the feet, walk in towards one another. Bring the hands just to rest. You can kind of shake out the body, make any little movements that might feel good. Good. And then let the hands rest so that they're open towards the camera. Feet are about a hip's width distance. Toes can be forward or slightly pointed out. And then just let the hips float over the ankles. Knees have a micro bend. Let the shoulders float over the hips and relax down onto the back. You could think of like setting your shoulder blades down into the back pockets of your pants. Feel the heart rise, the crown of the head lifts. Maybe lift and spread the toes and pull the mat apart with the feet just a little bit to feel the engagement in the legs. Good. We'll inhale here, and on an exhale, start to hinge from those hip points again, not rounding the back in any way. Nice long neutral spine. The knees can definitely bend. You can even bring the arms to rest on the thighs to help keep the spine nice and long. Good. And then we'll make our way to the floor. If you do not have osteoporosis or osteopenia, or if you're like 40 or younger, if you've never had a bone density scan and you're over 40, we kind of like to pretend you maybe do have osteopenia just in case so we don't injure anything. But if you are perfectly safe in your back and don't have any issues, you can then round all the way forward to the earth. And if not, just grab maybe your blocks or something, or just really bend the legs. And then we'll all come all the way down to a seat. Good, and you can sit however's comfortable. And just kind of let your body feel where it is. I'm noticing that my torso wants to kind of make some circles, like I'm kind of stirring my pelvic bowl here. Good, and then I'm gonna reach my arms out to the walls on the side of me and press the heels of the hands away. Good, inhale to lift through the crown of the head. Exhale, root back down through the sit bones. Good, and then give yourself a hug with one arm on top of the other, still sitting tall, but really giving yourself a big hug, letting the shoulders come wide onto the back, the shoulder blades coming wide. Good, you could gently round a little bit here on the exhale. On the inhales, maybe lifting slightly, moving with your breath. And then extend the arms out to that T again. Bring the hands down to the earth. If you're sitting cross-legged, switch the cross of your legs so the opposite leg is in front. And then extend those arms to a T again, pressing out through the heel of the hand. And then giving yourself a hug with the opposite arm on top. Good. From here, you can gently round with the exhale. Gently lift with the inhale, nothing extreme. Again, if you ever cannot find your full even breath because you're going too far into a pose, be willing to back off even just 5 or 10% until you are able to find that more full breath. Good, come back to a neutral spine, bring the hands to the seat behind you, and then we'll just take a few moments to make our way back onto the earth. We won't spend too long laying here getting comfortable again, but we do want to spend a little time letting our practice incorporate into our bodies. So let the legs be bent, coming to the back, and notice now how the back body feels on the earth. Notice how the whole body feels. Maybe you notice the qualities of the body are quite a bit different now after we've done a yoga practice. Or sometimes the changes in the body can be really subtle and maybe we don't notice them that much. So if you don't notice a huge difference, don't worry about it too much either. Know that the movements are still working, even if your conscious awareness hasn't been able to connect to the difference that you feel or that you don't feel. Take a moment maybe to notice the qualities of your mind. If the thoughts or emotions have shifted in any way, just take note of that. And again, if the mind is still pretty active or agitated or anything like that, don't worry too much about it. Just notice. You could take the feet a little bit wide here now and start to let the knees kind of shift side to side, and so some wiper knees. Good. And then one last time, just hug the knees in towards the chest. You can let the low back rock side to side. Maybe take a happy baby if you want by lifting the feet towards the sky, but keeping the legs bent, kind of rocking side to side. Or you could extend the legs up in the air to take a legs up the wall variation. I actually have a wall here. If you have a wall next to you, you could just take the legs up the wall for a few minutes. That's really good to get the legs up the wall is good for so many things. But the biggest thing is that it's an inversion. So most of our lives, our head and our chest is up above the legs. So by taking the legs up above everything else, we're kind of shaking things up. And we're letting all that blood flow that's always down towards the feet kind of flow back in to the body and all the internal organs. And they're probably going like, oh, this feels so good. We're having all this nice, juicy energy come towards us. So legs up the wall helps your body function a lot better, even if you could just do it for like 5 or 10 minutes a day. Or for now, you could bring the knees back into the chest and then extend the legs out, one and then the other, to find just a few moments of Shavasana or corpse pose here at the end of our practice. Wherever you are, just let the body feel heavy and grounded. But at the same time, maybe notice if there's a sense of spaciousness to the body as well. Maybe a lightness to the body. Feel the whole body breathing here. Maybe imagining that every cell in the body could inhale as the breath, the clean, fresh prana wash in. And then feel every cell in the body exhale. Every cell releasing any old stagnant energy that we don't need to carry with us into the rest of our day. The breath can become natural and even here. Nothing you have to do, nothing to change, nothing to create. Just let the innate intelligence of the body breathe and incorporate your practice. Relax the jaw. Let the ears fall to the floor with the pull of gravity. Relax the inner and outer corners of the eyes. And let the forehead be smooth. Even imagine the brain relaxing away from the skull. let your awareness drop down towards your own heart at the center of the chest. And as a natural breath washes in, imagine a light sparkling energy washing in with the breath, filling the whole body with light, with prana. Enlivening the body, letting the exhale take out any last bits of tension. You can rest here as long as you like. Ideally, I like to leave people in Shavasana for, 5 to 15 minutes. But for the sake of the video, I won't stay that long, but feel free to continue to lie in your Shavasana. Just letting the breath flow, letting the mind and the body be soft. And then as you're ready, you can just gently begin to bring movement back into the body. Roll to one side to start to connect to the heaviness of the body again. And then press yourself up and get ready to go about the rest of your day. Thank you so much. I don't know how long this video ended up being, an hour and 11 minutes, so that's not too bad. If you do a few more moments of Shavasana, that'll take you to about an hour and 15 minutes. Wherever you are at the end of your practice, whenever that is, take a moment to let your inner gaze drop down towards your own heart and see if you can find a sense of gratitude, even for just the tiniest thing, like, I have on clothes today. I'm in a house with a roof over my head today. Really, those aren't even tiny things. Those are really, really big things that we often forget to feel grateful for, that we can still feel grateful for even if the world around us seems like it's spinning out of control. In fact, it could be even more important when the world is spinning out of control for us to find that gratitude for these little things. Maybe find some gratitude for yourself, for your own willingness to do this practice, to do something good for yourself today. And take a moment to cultivate a sense of compassion. It can be hard to feel compassion these days when so much of our energy is focused on who is upsetting us, who is going against what we think is correct. So take a moment to maybe cultivate that sense of compassion, even if it's just for the people that you do love, the people around you, knowing that they are all functioning in this crazy world, doing the best that they can. Maybe you can extend that compassion out to the people in the world who you maybe don't love as much, who you're in conflict with. And remember that we are all trying to navigate through this intense time. And we all don't have good skills to allow us to stay as functional as we were before all this craziness happened. So if you can find that bit of compassion for people, even that you disagree with, just for this small moment in time, and then regardless of all that, bring that compassion back in towards your own heart. And remind yourself that in the midst of this crazy last year, this crazy last 4 years, the last 12 years, your whole life, in the midst of all of it, remind yourself that you are doing your best and you are doing a good job. May all beings be happy and free. May all beings know the beauty of their own true nature. And may all beings everywhere be healed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me this morning. We're just now at an hour and 16 minutes. So I'll let you go off to the rest of your day. If it's your Saturday, I hope you have a great weekend, a productive weekend, a restful weekend, whatever you need it to be. Even if it's not what you expect it should be, I hope it still is what you need it to be. So thank you guys so much. And I will hopefully see you guys or talk to you soon. Let me know if you have any questions. Or if you have questions about practicing yoga with me in the real world, feel free to send me a message or comment on this video. So thank you so much. Have a good day.